Now, this episode of my team almost didn't happen. I had a pretty big video failure corruption during Q1, and it would have meant I lost this part of the video, the practice, the kind of pre-qualifying bit, and also the entirety of Q1. Luckily, I think I have recovered it all. Hopefully the video renders out okay and everything looks fine in the final result. The only issue is that there won't be any game sound until Q2, so yeah, bear with me for that one. And also, I guess, a bit of a small spoiler, but nonetheless, let's jump into it then as we arrive here at Belgium for another race, round 8 in my team season 7. If you haven't seen the previous one, guys, Silverstone, the previous race, link up in the top right. But yeah, for Belgium, we're going to go ahead and change the remaining components to make sure that we're at full power for this one, as it's a power circuit, of course, and we are at maximum performance. We also had a department event on the marketing side, an esports opportunity for Pierre Gasly. Now, we have the option of accepting or declining, and I went ahead and actually declined it because I don't want Pierre's racecraft affected by that, and it's quite a big one. It's a -7, which is quite a big hit, so we're going to turn that one down and jump into the weekend. You may have noticed as well, we're back in blue this weekend, back in the traditional livery. There is a couple of tweaks to it. The blue is a bit different. I've made it a slight touch brighter and a little bit less metallic and a bit more matte-ish. Having said that, another dry weekend. We haven't had rain in a long time, and I don't think we've had rain much at all this season, to be fair. I've kept the alternate race suits from Silverstone for a change. I thought, let's keep them for a few more races and see how they look. We hopefully might get to see them on the podium if we're lucky this weekend. So yeah, for now we've just gone back on the car livery, which is the main thing, as we go through our setup. And we're going to run the wings fairly balanced. I want to have a decent straight line speed along with also a decent cornering speed, and yeah, just making sure that we run the usual changes with the brake pressure and also the tyre pressures as well. We may also revise this as qualifying goes on, as Spa is quite a tough circuit for tyre pressures and there's a lot of stress on the rears. Now, we joined the action in Q1 with about 12 minutes to go, and I'm currently on the end of my first push lap. So as I said before, there's no engine sound. Bear with it for now. Hopefully it will improve. I also lost my webcam footage, but luckily I managed to recover it as well. So I had a pretty good day in terms of recovering the gameplay and the webcam footage all at once. It may not be fully in sync, but hopefully that will be resolved as well in Q2. So across the line, 37.7 on our first lap, P4 at the time. Eventually, we got pushed down to P10, Pierre Gasly down in P12. But if you look at the gaps to P16 and P17, there's quite a margin, and the grid's really close actually. You know, the top 14 drivers covered by 6/10 is actually really competitive. So we didn't go out again. That first lap was enough. Verstappen setting the pace on a 37.2, Ricciardo closely following, and we managed to finish in P10 with Gasly in P12. So there is your Q1 results. Definitely more pace to find. I wasn't fully happy with the car balance, and we're going to go ahead and address that now in Q2. So we're going to reduce the fuel from 8 kg down to 6 and make the car a bit lighter, as we're going to go for just one lap. Also, tyre pressures, we're going to bring them down because I was struggling a little bit on overall tyre temp, especially towards the end of Sector 2 and on the rears. So here we go then, starting our first lap then in Q2, 10.5 minutes to go. Engine sound is with us as we get back underway, and into turn 1 then, braking at the white line across the track, down to third. We have a bit of a moment on the exit there, losing a bit of momentum and exit speed as we catch some oversteer, and yeah, we're now fighting the car as we head up through Eau Rouge and Radion, flat out along the Kemmel Straight. DRS wide open as we head down towards Les Combes, trying to carry that top speed as we now spot the 50-meter board, brake on the curb, 5th gear, kiss the inside curb, and also the one on the left, open up Malmedy, which is the next right-hander, shifting up to 6th on the way through. Then down the hill into 3rd for turn number 8. We run a little bit wide, miss the apex slightly as we then open up turn 9. Use the inside curb to rotate the car as we run it just about onto the track limit, and now plunging downhill into Pouon. One downshift, tip the nose in. We run a little bit wide and have to catch some oversteer, and then on the exit we just lose concentration for a second there and actually invalidate. So yeah, unfortunately our lap is in the bin. I went ahead and still pushed on anyway. I wanted to finish it and see if I could give myself a decent delta and we set a 37.4, which is 3 tenths quicker than Q1. So the setup changes working well, and we gave ourselves a decent delta to aim for on the final run. I actually went back and made some further changes to tyre pressures as overheating was becoming a bit of an issue, and also we're going to go all the way down to 5 kg for this final run, as we need this lap to get through and it has to be perfect. So with a minute 50 to go, there's only one other car on the track, one of the Alfa Romeos. So if we get in the top 10, we're pretty much safe. If we get to the top 9, it's 100% guaranteed. So here we go again, out of the final corner, starting the lap, DRS open, down to turn 1, brake at the white line, third gear. This time let's try and avoid the oversteer on exit as we get a nice clean exit, but we just run a fraction wide and invalidate, and it didn't feel like I was off to me when I done it at the time. So I went into the replay, and you guys in the comments down below, judge for yourself. Technically I have to keep one wheel on the white line at all times. Have I gone off the track, or have we stayed on? This is millimetrical. I'm talking, it's so close. I think I've stayed on. Personally, I think I'm okay, but the game has deemed it out of bounds and an invalidation to track limits. You can just see how fine and close the margins are, but give me your thoughts in the feedback in the comments down below. But unfortunately, this invalidation is going to mean that we're not going to chalk up a lap on the board, and it's going to be qualifying over for us in Q2 without a lap, using 2 sets of soft tyres. I brought the car back to the pits really slowly to keep the tyres for the race if necessary, and we've got a massive uphill task to climb for the race. I mean, we made it hard for ourselves in Silverstone last race, the pace wasn't there, and we've just made things even harder. And the annoying thing is that we set a 37.4 on our first run in Q2, which was more than enough for a top 5. So yeah, that is painful and far from ideal. I think Verstappen finished quickest with a 36.9 in the end, so he found a bit more pace. So even my 37.4 was still half a second off the pace, but I do think I could have got like a 37.2, maybe a high 1, something like that. That would have been kind of the maximum I would have had pace-wise. So we're probably looking at P2 again, really, and damage limitation. But instead, it's P16. So yeah, it's an uphill battle to climb for the race tomorrow, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed it and me kind of salvaging the footage. Comment down below, was I on or was I off the track in terms of the track limits? And yeah, I look forward to seeing the comments on this video. As always, a massive thanks to the channel members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, guys, I'll be back tomorrow for the race at Spa. Until then, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Adios.